My name is Marcus Aurelius Carinus, and I was born into the tumultuous world of Rome, destined for a path I could scarcely have imagined. The year of my birth remains uncertain, but it was likely in the early 250s AD, a period of great upheaval and change within the empire. My father, Carus, was a respected and ambitious military man who would eventually ascend to the role of emperor, a destiny that would shape the lives of my brother Numerian and me profoundly. We were a close family, bonded by the trials and tribulations of our time. My earliest memories are filled with the wisdom and strength of my father. Carus, despite his demanding duties, always found time to talk to Numerian and me about philosophy, politics, and the other classical arts and sciences. Our home was a place of learning and growth, where the rigorous demands of Roman education intertwined with the tender moments of family life. Numerian and I would spend hours playing in the garden together, our laughter echoing through the corridors of our home. These were the halcyon days of our youth, where the burdens of leadership and the weight of the imperial crown were still far from our minds. Our education was robust and comprehensive, as befitted the sons of a future emperor. We were taught by the finest tutors in Rome, learning not only the art of war, but also the intricacies of governance, rhetoric, and philosophy. Our education was not just confined to the classrooms. Father believed in the importance of practical experience. I recall vividly the day he took us to the Senate, where we observed the senators debating fiercely. "You must understand the workings of the state, the pulse of the people," he told us. "Only then can you lead effectively." These lessons were invaluable, laying the foundation for the roles we would eventually assume. Our mother, whose name history has unfortunately overshadowed, was a pillar of strength and grace. She instilled in us the values of compassion and loyalty, virtues that would be tested in the years to come. The bond between our parents was one of mutual respect and shared vision for the future of Rome. Together, they nurtured us, preparing us for the roles we were destined to play. The landscapes of our childhood were filled with the grandeur of Rome's architecture and the natural beauty of its gardens. The Villa of the Papyri, with its vast library, was a place of wonder for Numerian and me. We spent countless hours there, lost in the scrolls and manuscripts that chronicled the vast history of our empire. The stories of great leaders, philosophers, and warriors of the past inspired us, igniting a fire of ambition within our young hearts. As we grew older, our training intensified. We were introduced to the rigors of military life, learning the strategies and tactics that had expanded Rome's dominion across the known world. Our father would often take us to the training grounds, where we observed the legions in their disciplined drills. "A true leader understands the hardships of his soldiers," he would say, watching us closely as we practiced with swords and shields. Despite the increasing demands of our education and training, there were still moments of respite. I remember the festivals and games, where the city came alive with joy and celebration. These occasions were a testament to the enduring spirit of Rome, a reminder of the unity and strength that defined our people. In these early years, the seeds of our future were sown. Under the guidance of our father and the nurturing presence of our mother, Numerian and I grew into men ready to face the challenges ahead. Little did we know then that the roles we were preparing for would come upon us sooner than we expected, thrusting us into the heart of power and the turbulence of empire. As the sun set on our childhood, the shadows of our destinies loomed large. The time would soon come for us to step out of the garden of our youth and into the arena of history, where we would be tested in ways we could not yet comprehend. The story of my reign, with all its triumphs and tragedies, was about to begin. The year was 283 AD when the wheels of fate turned decisively, thrusting me into the heart of power. My father, Carus, had ascended to the imperial throne the previous year, and the responsibilities of empire had begun to weigh heavily upon our family. In his wisdom, my father recognized the need to secure the empire's vast frontiers and to solidify his legacy. To this end, he conferred upon me the title of Caesar and sent me to the army of the Rhine, while my brother Numerian was dispatched to the east. My departure from Rome was a moment of profound significance. The city, with its towering monuments and bustling forums, had been my home and my teacher. As I bade farewell to my family, I felt the heavy mantle of duty settle upon my shoulders. My father's parting words echoed in my mind. Remember, Carinus, leadership is not just about power. It is about service, about guiding our people through the storms that beset our empire. The Rhine frontier was a land of both beauty and danger. The legions stationed there were the shield against the barbarian tribes that threatened our borders. I arrived with a sense of determination, eager to prove my worth as a leader. The soldiers, hardened by years of conflict, were wary of their new commander. Yet, through shared hardships and victories, I earned their respect. The campaigns along the Rhine were grueling, but they taught me invaluable lessons in strategy and the realities of war. During these campaigns, I received news that would change the course of my life forever. My father, Carus, had died suddenly during his campaign against the Persians. The exact circumstances of his death were shrouded in mystery, but the consequences were clear. The mantle of emperor now fell upon me and my brother Numerian. In the west, I was to take the reins of power, while Numerian would rule in the east. The transition of power was swift but fraught with challenges. Upon my return to Rome, I was greeted by the Senate and the people, all eager to see how I would lead. In September 284, I celebrated grand games in honor of my father's victories in Persia. The city was alive with festivity, a brief respite from the uncertainties that lay ahead. These celebrations were not merely displays of power, but acts of unity, binding the people to their new emperor. My brother Numerian and I, though separated by vast distances, remained close in spirit. We exchanged letters regularly, discussing matters of state and personal reflections. His missives were filled with insights from the East, where he faced his own set of challenges. We both understood the delicate balance required to maintain the stability of our divided yet interconnected realms. However, the tranquility of my rule was soon disrupted. In the spring of 285, a formidable threat emerged from within the empire itself. Aurelius Julianus, the governor of Venetia, proclaimed himself emperor, igniting a rebellion that threatened to fracture our fragile unity. I mobilized my forces and marched north to confront this usurper. Near Verona, in a decisive battle, I defeated Julianus, quelling the insurrection and reaffirming my authority. This victory, though significant, was overshadowed by a greater threat. Diocletian, a capable and ambitious general, had risen to power in the east following the death of Numerian. Our paths were now set on a collision course as the struggle for ultimate control of the Roman Empire loomed large. As I prepared for the inevitable confrontation with Diocletian, I could not help but reflect on the journey that had brought me to this point. From the serene gardens of my youth to the turbulent battlefields of my reign, every step had been a preparation for the trials to come. The legacy of my father, the bond with my brother, and the loyalty of my soldiers were the pillars upon which I stood. In the coming months, The fate of the empire would hang in the balance, and my destiny would be tested in ways I could scarcely have imagined. The road ahead was fraught with peril, but I was ready to face it with the resolve and courage that had been instilled in me from a young age. The story of my reign was far from over, and the defining chapters were yet to be written. As the year 285 AD dawned, my reign faced its greatest challenge. The empire, vast and diverse, was a cauldron of competing interests and simmering tensions. The weight of governance pressed heavily upon me, yet I was resolute in my determination to lead with strength and wisdom. The grand games in honor of my father's victories were a distant memory as the reality of rule set in. The empire needed a firm hand, and I was determined to be that hand. In Rome, the Senate was a complex and often contentious body. The senators, with their various allegiances and ambitions, required careful management. My father had taught me the importance of balancing power and diplomacy. I spent many hours in the Senate, listening to debates, forging alliances, and sometimes making hard decisions. These efforts were aimed at maintaining stability and securing the loyalty of those who held influence over the heart of the empire. However, the immediate and pressing concern was the looming threat of Diocletian. His rise to power in the East, following my brother Numerian's mysterious death, had not only divided the empire, but also set the stage for an inevitable confrontation. Diocletian was a shrewd and formidable adversary, known for his military acumen and strategic brilliance. The stakes were high, and the future of Rome hung in the balance. I gathered my legions, the backbone of Roman might, and prepared for the decisive clash. The soldiers who had fought alongside me on the Rhine were now by my side once more. Their loyalty and courage were unwavering, forged in the crucible of countless battles. As we marched towards the Marcus River, where destiny awaited, I could feel the weight of history pressing down upon us. The battlefield on the banks of the Marcus River was a scene of chaos and intensity. The clash of swords, the cries of the wounded, and the thunderous roar of charging cavalry filled the air. I led my troops with the same resolve that had earned their respect, determined to secure victory and reunite the empire under my rule. The battle raged fiercely, each side vying for supremacy in a desperate struggle. Amidst the chaos, betrayal struck a devastating blow. I was surrounded by men I believed to be loyal, but the insidious seeds of treachery had been sown. One of my own officers, driven by ambition or perhaps swayed by Diocletian's influence, turned against me. In the midst of battle, I was struck down by the very men I had trusted to protect me. The blow was both physical and symbolic, a stark reminder of the perilous nature of power. As I fell, the world around me blurred, the sounds of battle fading into a distant echo. In those final moments, my thoughts turned to my family. I remembered the wisdom of my father, the companionship of my brother, and the values instilled in me by my mother. The pain of betrayal was sharp, but it was tempered by the knowledge that I had fought with honor and conviction. The news of my death spread quickly through the ranks, and the outcome of the battle became a foregone conclusion. Diocletian emerged victorious, his strategic brilliance and ruthless determination securing his place as the new emperor of a united Roman Empire. My reign, brief and tumultuous, had come to an end. Yet in those fleeting moments before darkness claimed me, I felt a sense of peace. I had given my all for the empire I loved, and my legacy would be determined by the judgment of history. The Marcus River, now a silent witness to the end of my reign, would forever be etched in the annals of Roman history. The soldiers who had fought bravely would remember the battle, not just as a conflict between emperors, but as a testament to the enduring spirit of Rome. My death marked the end of an era, but the empire would endure, shaped by the struggles and triumphs of those who came before and after me. As the dust settled and the echoes of battle faded, the legacy of my reign began to take shape. I had ruled with a steadfast commitment to the ideals of Rome, striving to maintain its greatness in the face of overwhelming challenges. The story of my life and reign was one of duty, sacrifice, and the relentless pursuit of a vision for a united and prosperous empire. The battle on the Margus River in 285 AD was a pivotal moment, not just for my reign, but for the entire Roman Empire. The events leading to my death were swift and merciless, marked by treachery and betrayal from those I had trusted most. The battlefield was a maelstrom of violence, a stark contrast to the serene gardens of my youth, where Numerian and I had played so many years before. As I stood at the front lines, surveying the chaotic clash of legions, I was acutely aware of the gravity of the situation. Diocletian's forces were formidable, their advance relentless. Despite our efforts to hold our ground, the tide of battle was turning against us. The loyalty of my troops, which had been my strength during the campaigns along the Rhine, was faltering under the intense pressure of Diocletian's assault. The betrayal came suddenly and without warning. In the heat of battle, surrounded by the cacophony of clashing steel and the cries of the wounded, I was struck from behind. The blow was delivered by one of my own officers, a man I had believed to be loyal. The pain was immediate and intense, but the shock of betrayal cut even deeper. As I fell to the ground, I realized that my fate had been sealed by treachery, a common thread in the tapestry of imperial power. In those final moments, as my vision blurred and the sounds of battle grew distant, I thought of my family, the teachings of my father Carus, the companionship of my brother Numerian, and the nurturing guidance of my mother all flashed before my eyes. I had been prepared for leadership from a young age, but nothing could have prepared me for the bitter reality of betrayal and the abrupt end of my reign. The aftermath of my fall was swift. My death demoralized my forces, and Diocletian's troops pressed their advantage, quickly overwhelming our defenses. The Margus River, once a lifeline for the region, became the final resting place for my aspirations. Diocletian's victory was complete, and with my death, he solidified his control over a united Roman Empire. News of my death spread rapidly, reaching Rome and the farthest corners of the empire. The reactions were mixed. Some mourned the loss of their emperor, while others saw my demise as a necessary step for the stabilization of Rome. Diocletian, now the unchallenged ruler, wasted no time in consolidating his power and initiating reforms that would leave a lasting impact on the empire. My family, left to grapple with the fallout, faced their own trials. My father had passed away before he could see the full extent of his son's reigns, and my brother Numerian's death remained shrouded in mystery and controversy. The legacy of the Aurelius family was marked by ambition, achievement, and ultimately tragedy. As I lay on the battlefield, the life ebbing from my body, I found a strange sense of peace. I had lived and ruled with conviction, striving to uphold the principles of Rome and lead with honor. Though my time as emperor was brief, it was filled with moments of both triumph and tribulation. The betrayal that led to my death was a painful reminder of the precarious nature of power, but it did not diminish the efforts I had made to serve my empire. The Margus River, serene and unchanging, continued its flow, indifferent to the human struggles that unfolded on its banks. My death was but a moment in the vast expanse of Roman history, a history that would continue to be written by those who came after me. Diocletian's reign would bring significant changes, and the empire would endure, evolving and adapting to the challenges it faced. In death, I became a part of the enduring legacy of Rome, a legacy built on the shoulders of countless leaders, soldiers, and citizens. The story of my reign, marked by both accomplishments and shortcomings, would be remembered as a chapter in the epic saga of the Roman Empire. And as the empire moved forward, I hoped that the lessons learned from my life and death would serve to guide those who followed in my footsteps. The legacy of Marcus Aurelius Carinus, the emperor who faced betrayal on the banks of the Margus River, is a complex and multifaceted one. In the annals of Roman history, my reign, though brief and tumultuous, left a mark that would be examined and interpreted by scholars and leaders for generations to come. As I lay on the battlefield, life ebbing away, I could only hope that my efforts to lead Rome with strength and integrity would be remembered. The immediate aftermath of my death was a period of consolidation for Diocletian, who, having triumphed over me, now faced the monumental task of securing and reforming the empire. His reign would become known for its significant and lasting reforms, many of which were born out of the challenges and struggles that my own reign had highlighted. In the years following my death, Diocletian implemented sweeping changes that transformed the administrative and military structures of the Roman Empire. His reforms, aimed at stabilizing and strengthening the empire, included the division of power through the tetrarchy, which sought to address the very issues of succession and governance that had plagued my time as emperor. This new system of rule, dividing the empire among multiple rulers, was designed to provide greater stability and efficiency in managing Rome's vast territories. My own reign, by contrast, is often viewed through the lens of its abrupt end and the circumstances of my demise. However, it is important to recognize that the struggles I faced were indicative of the broader challenges confronting the empire during this period. The internal strife, the threats from external forces, and the complexities of maintaining loyalty and unity within the vast expanse of Rome were issues that demanded innovative solutions and steadfast leadership. The victories I achieved, particularly against Aurelius Julianus, demonstrated my capability as a military leader. My efforts to uphold the legacy of my father, Carus, and to honor his victories were genuine and driven by a deep sense of duty to the empire. The grand games I organized in Rome were not just a celebration of past triumphs, but an attempt to unify the people and instill a sense of continuity and hope for the future. In reflecting on my legacy, I also think of my brother Numerian, whose untimely death remains a poignant part of our family's history. Numerian and I, though separated by distance, were united in our commitment to Rome. His contributions to the eastern part of the empire, though overshadowed by his mysterious demise, were significant in their own right. Together, we represented the dual facets of Rome's leadership, striving to maintain the empire's greatness amidst formidable challenges. My mother, though not as prominently remembered in the historical records, played an essential role in shaping the values and virtues that guided my actions as a leader. Her teachings of compassion, loyalty, and integrity were the foundation upon which I built my rule. The lessons from my parents, combined with the rigorous education and experiences of my youth, prepared me for the responsibilities I bore, even if the outcomes were not as I had hoped. The narrative of my reign is one of ambition, struggle, and ultimate sacrifice. It serves as a reminder of the inherent uncertainties of power and the often perilous path of leadership. The betrayal I faced was a harsh testament to the volatile nature of imperial politics, yet it also underscored the enduring spirit of resilience that defined Rome. In the centuries that followed, historians and scholars would debate the significance of my rule. Some might view it as a cautionary tale of the dangers of ambition and the fickle nature of loyalty. Others might see it as a testament to the enduring values of duty and service to the greater good, even in the face of overwhelming odds. My death on the Margus River marked the end of my story, but it also paved the way for the transformative changes that Diocletian would bring. The Roman Empire, resilient and adaptive, continued to evolve, learning from the experiences of its leaders. My legacy, intertwined with the broader narrative of Rome, remains a part of the rich tapestry of history that defines the enduring legacy of the Roman Empire. Thank you for watching. Our channel, known as the Renassaince Spirit, is dedicated to the pursuits of a just, equitable, and humanitarian world. Video topics encompass areas including history, politics, religion, personal development, society, culture, social and environmental justice, and other topics of liberal arts and sciences, including ancient Rome and the Roman Empire, which is a great comparison and contrast of the modern world. Topics perfect for the true modern polymath. The Renaissance ushered in a golden age and the pursuit of knowledge. Knowledge both lost to time and yet to be discovered. It gave birth to the Enlightenment and the Age of Reason. Embracing truth, knowledge, and an understanding and compassion for humanity opens up the world to each of us, individually, and improves all of humanity, affording us the opportunity to be better stewards of the earth and to each other. The Renaissance spirit, more than just a philosophy or style, but a style for living, learning, growing, and thinking. Please subscribe, turn on notifications, and share. If you're looking to explore and experience what life has to offer, I'm sure you'll enjoy the other videos on my channel. Please peruse and let me know in the comments what you get out of them and what other videos you'd like to see. But first, please take the quiz next to see if you're a Renaissance spirit. Live the Renaissance spirit.